Have you ever experienced that awkward moment when a well-intentioned visit leaves you feeling like you've somehow crossed an invisible line? Just ask Barbara, 68, who recently dropped by her old friend Sarah's house unannounced. "I thought I was being thoughtful," Barbara shares, "but something felt different, uncomfortable. The warmth I expected wasn't there." As we age, personal boundaries and private space become increasingly precious, yet many of us struggle to recognize when we might be overstepping. What we view as a friendly visit could actually be creating tension in our relationships. Today, I'll reveal 4 types of people you should think twice about visiting, even with the best intentions. These insights might surprise you, but they could save your most valued relationships. Before we dive in, I'd love to know where you're watching from. Drop your city in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more wisdom that can enhance your golden years. Now, let's start with the most surprising group, the one that hits closest to home. 1. Visiting close family members. As a family doctor with over 40 years of experience, I've observed something fascinating about aging and family dynamics. Let's start with what might seem counterintuitive: being mindful about visiting our own children. Yes, you heard that right. While family is undoubtedly precious, even these closest relationships need healthy boundaries as we age. Many of us over 60 struggle with this concept. After all, we raised these children, supported them through every milestone, and shaped them into who they are today. Shouldn't we have the privilege of stopping by whenever we want? But here's what I've learned from decades of counseling seniors. Our role as parents needs to evolve as our children build their own lives and families. Think about it. Our adult children are juggling careers, raising kids, maintaining relationships, and handling countless daily responsibilities. Their homes have become their sanctuaries, places where they need to maintain certain routines and find peace amid life's chaos. When we drop by unannounced, no matter how well-intentioned, we might be disrupting this delicate balance. Take Sarah, a mother of 3 in her 40s, as an example. Every Friday afternoon, her retired father would pop by unannounced, eager to spend time with his grandchildren. While Sarah appreciated his love and effort, she often found herself scrambling to clean the house or rearrange her schedule to accommodate these visits. Over time, her stress began to show, and their once warm interactions became tense. The issue wasn't love or intention, it was timing and boundaries. What works better? Scheduling regular visits that everyone can look forward to. Use technology to stay connected. A quick text message or video call can bridge the gap between visits. Create special traditions that respect everyone's time and space. Maybe it's a monthly family dinner at your place, a weekly coffee date at a local cafe, or even hosting the grandkids for an afternoon while their parents take a break. Another tip? Be mindful of timing. Consider how your visit might fit into your child's daily rhythm. A mid-morning coffee chat might be far less intrusive than showing up during the dinner rush or bedtime routine. Asking simple questions like, "When would be a good time to visit?" or "What works best for you this week?" can go a long way in showing consideration. It's also essential to have open, honest communication. If you feel lonely or wish to see them more often, express that, but also listen to their perspective. One of the most common challenges I've seen is when expectations between parents and children go unspoken, leading to misunderstandings. Take Elizabeth, a 72-year-old grandmother I counseled, for instance. She used to drop by her daughter Jennifer's house whenever she felt lonely or had something to share. She believed this was her right as a mother. But when Jennifer's husband finally had a heart-to-heart conversation with her about how these surprise visits were affecting their family routine, Elizabeth had to confront some hard truths. By learning to respect boundaries and schedule visits in advance, she not only improved her relationship with her daughter, but also found time to develop her own fulfilling activities and friendships. Another client, Robert, shared a similar struggle. A widower in his late 60s, he leaned heavily on his son for company, often calling or visiting multiple times a week. When his son gently suggested limiting visits to weekends, Robert felt hurt initially. But after reflecting, he realized the importance of giving his son space. He took up a hobby, woodworking, and joined a local community group, finding new ways to fill his time and nurture his relationships. Remember, the goal isn't to feel distant from your children, but to foster a relationship rooted in mutual respect and understanding. When we respect their time and space, we set the foundation for deeper, more meaningful connections. At the same time, this is a great opportunity to explore your independence. While it's natural to want to be close to your family, it's equally important to cultivate hobbies, friendships, and activities that bring you joy outside of your immediate family circle. Consider joining a book club, volunteering at a local organization, or even taking up a new class. These pursuits can enrich your life and give you something fresh to share during your scheduled visits. Healthy boundaries aren't barriers, they're bridges. They allow relationships to grow and thrive in a way that respects everyone's needs. By planning visits, communicating openly, and maintaining your independence, you show your children that you value their lives while enriching your own. If you're finding this advice helpful, give us a quick thumbs up and share your own experiences in the comments. How do you maintain that delicate balance with your adult children? Your wisdom might help others in our community navigate this challenge. With this mindset, the next time you visit your family, the interactions will feel lighter, more enjoyable, and filled with mutual respect. After all, isn't that what we all want? A stronger bond built on understanding and love? Now, let's move on to our second group, those whose need for order might make unexpected visits particularly challenging. 2. Visiting overly tidy people. In my years of working closely with seniors, I've noticed a recurring pattern when it comes to visits among friends and family. The homes of overly tidy individuals often create some of the most delicate situations. For many of us, visiting a meticulously kept home might feel like a privilege, but for the person living there, it can sometimes feel like an intrusion. This isn't because they don't value relationships or enjoy company. It's because their need for order is deeply tied to their sense of peace and well-being. Take Thomas, a retired 75-year-old accountant, for example. Thomas has lived alone since his wife passed away 5 years ago, and his home is his sanctuary. Every morning, he starts his day by wiping down his counters, straightening his furniture, and making sure everything is in its proper place. To Thomas, maintaining this level of order isn't just a habit, it's a way of controlling his environment in a world that feels increasingly unpredictable. When his friends or family drop by unannounced, the unexpected footprints on his freshly vacuumed carpet or a coffee cup left on the table can feel like a disruption to the order he works so hard to maintain. For overly tidy individuals like Thomas, their home is more than just a space, it's a reflection of their inner calm. As we age, our need for predictability often grows, especially when other parts of life become less stable. Health challenges, changes in routines, and even the loss of loved ones can make the sanctuary of a well-kept home a source of comfort and control. For some, maintaining a spotless house becomes a way of coping with anxiety or processing the rapid changes of aging. Understanding this perspective can help us approach visits with more sensitivity. Dropping by unannounced might seem like a friendly gesture, but for someone like Thomas, it might feel overwhelming. There's the pressure of hosting, the potential mess caused by unexpected company, and the disruption of their carefully crafted routine. While they may not express it outright, their discomfort can manifest in subtle ways: a lack of warmth in their tone, distracted behavior, or an eagerness to wrap up the visit quickly. How can we navigate this dynamic without straining the relationship? The first step is communication. Before visiting, it's always a good idea to call or send a message. Something as simple as asking, "Is this a good time?" shows respect for their space and allows them the chance to prepare, both mentally and physically. This small gesture can make a world of difference in how the visit is received. If visiting their home feels too formal or stressful for them, suggest meeting at a neutral location like a coffee shop or park. These settings remove the pressure of maintaining a pristine environment and allow for more relaxed and enjoyable conversations. Thomas, for instance, found that he enjoyed meeting his friends for breakfast at a nearby diner rather than hosting them at home. He appreciated that he could still connect with loved ones without feeling like his sense of order was compromised. For those times when you do visit their home, being mindful of their preferences can go a long way. Remove your shoes at the door, use a coaster for your drink, and offer to help clean up any mess you might accidentally create. These small actions might seem trivial, but for someone who values tidiness, they're gestures of understanding and respect. The key is not to take their need for order personally. It's not about you or your relationship. It's about their inner need for balance. In fact, respecting their boundaries can often deepen the relationship. When Thomas's friends began calling ahead and showing sensitivity to his preferences, he found himself looking forward to their visits rather than feeling anxious about them. It's also worth noting that overly tidy people often have their own way of showing love and care. For Thomas, that meant baking fresh cookies for his guests or setting up a beautifully arranged table for tea. While his approach to hosting might be more structured, it's still an expression of his affection. Recognizing and appreciating these gestures can help you see beyond the surface of their need for control. As we grow older, it's natural for relationships to require a bit more effort and understanding. By approaching visits with empathy and consideration, we can strengthen our connections rather than strain them. Overly tidy individuals like Thomas are not trying to push people away. They're simply navigating life in a way that makes them feel secure. When we honor that, we create space for deeper, more meaningful interactions that respect both their needs and our own. If this resonates with you, I encourage you to reflect on your own relationships. Do you know someone who values order and routine? How might you adapt your approach to visiting them in a way that strengthens your bond? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experiences could provide valuable insights for others navigating similar dynamics. If you're watching this and nodding along, whether you're the tidy one or know someone who is, give this video a thumbs up. Share in the comments if you've experienced similar situations. How do you handle visiting friends with different standards of order? Your insights might help others navigate these delicate situations. Next, let's talk about a group that might surprise you. Old friends who've drifted apart over the years. 3. Visiting old friends. Now, let's address something that might touch a tender spot for many of us over 60. Visiting old friends. These are the people who have stood by us through decades of life's ups and downs, shared in our greatest joys, and supported us in our hardest times. These friendships are precious, almost like treasure chests filled with memories, but even the strongest connections need careful nurturing as we age. Friendships naturally evolve over time. When we were younger, our relationships often revolved around shared activities, work, raising children, or social gatherings. But as we move into our golden years, life circumstances change. Retirement, health concerns, and shifting family responsibilities can create unexpected barriers. Even something as simple as a friend relocating to another town can change the rhythm of a friendship. These changes don't necessarily weaken the bond, but they do require a conscious effort to adapt. Many of us can remember a time when dropping by a friend's house unannounced was seen as a kind and spontaneous act. In our 40s or 50s, it was often an expected part of friendship, an easy way to stay connected and share life's moments. But now, as we've grown older, our needs have changed, and so have those of our friends. Energy levels fluctuate, routines take on more importance, and the need for personal space becomes more significant. What once felt like a simple gesture can now feel like an intrusion. It's important to understand that this shift isn't about becoming antisocial or losing the closeness of a friendship. It's about acknowledging and respecting new boundaries. Many of us might feel a pang of sadness when we realize that unannounced visits are no longer welcomed the way they once were. But this isn't a reflection of the friendship itself. Instead, it's often tied to what your friend may be experiencing. They might be facing health challenges they're not ready to discuss, providing care for a loved one, or simply finding themselves in need of more quiet time to recharge. Unexpected visits, no matter how well-meaning, can catch someone at a vulnerable moment. I've seen friendships strained because one person didn't recognize this change in needs. That's why it's so important to find new ways to maintain and nurture these relationships without unintentionally overstepping boundaries. One of the most effective strategies is to create new routines together, ones that respect each other's space and energy. Regular coffee dates, monthly lunches, or even a quick phone call can work wonders. For example, Mary and Patricia, two friends I've worked with, had been inseparable for over 40 years. They were the kind of friends who would show up at each other's houses with little notice, coffee mugs in hand. But as they entered their 70s, Patricia began dealing with chronic health issues, and these surprise visits started to feel overwhelming for her. Instead of letting the strain damage their bond, the two friends adapted. They started meeting for lunch once a month at their favorite restaurant and began talking on the phone every Sunday evening. This new routine gave Patricia the structure and rest she needed while allowing Mary to continue enjoying the closeness they'd built over the years. In many ways, their friendship grew even stronger because they learned to honor each other's boundaries and find new ways to connect. Another valuable way to maintain old friendships is to embrace technology. While it may feel unfamiliar at first, tools like texting, video calls, or even email can help bridge the gap when face-to-face visits aren't possible. A quick message to check in, like sharing a memory or sending a photo, can keep the connection alive in a meaningful way without imposing on someone's time or energy. If meeting in person remains important, try to arrange visits around shared activities that bring joy to both of you. This might mean joining the same book club, attending local events, or even taking gentle walks together. These moments of companionship can feel less formal than a traditional visit and allow you to enjoy time together without added pressure. As friendships evolve, it's essential to remain flexible and open-minded. Understand that what worked in the past may not work now, and that's okay. The core of the relationship, trust, love, and shared history, remains intact even if the ways you connect need to change. If you're watching this and thinking about an old friend, why not take a moment to reflect? Have your friendships changed as you've grown older? What new strategies have you found to maintain those precious connections while respecting boundaries? Let us know in the comments below. Your experience might inspire someone else in our community to reconnect with an old friend. These cherished friendships are a gift, but they require care and thoughtfulness. By adapting to the changing needs of both you and your friends, you can preserve these bonds for many years to come. And remember, it's never too late to reach out, make adjustments, and rediscover the joy of old connections. Let's move on now to a relationship dynamic that's equally complex. Our siblings. Fourth, visiting siblings. Siblings hold a unique place in our lives. They've often known us longer than anyone else, sharing our childhood, our family traditions, and countless memories. But as time goes on, even the closest sibling relationships can change. Life takes us in different directions. Career paths, marriages, and even physical distance may pull us apart. By the time we reach our golden years, those shared experiences of youth might feel like distant echoes, replaced by new routines and responsibilities. One of the biggest shifts in sibling dynamics is how our roles within the family evolve. As children, we might have bickered over toys or competed for our parents' attention. As young adults, we might have leaned on each other during life's milestones, weddings, the birth of children, or the loss of a parent. But as we grow older, our relationships with siblings often become more complex. The bonds that once felt unbreakable can be tested by time, unresolved conflicts, or differing priorities. It's easy to assume that a sibling's home should feel as open and welcoming as it was when you were younger. After all, you shared bedrooms, bathrooms, and family dinners for years. Why wouldn't their space feel like your own? But as we age, our needs for privacy and independence change. Even siblings who remain close must learn to navigate these new boundaries, especially when unexpected visits or old patterns of interaction resurface. Respecting a sibling's space isn't just about physical boundaries, it's about emotional ones too. Each sibling brings their own personality, history, and preferences into the relationship. For example, one might be more reserved, needing quiet time to recharge, while the other thrives on social interactions. Without clear communication and mutual understanding, it's easy to unintentionally overstep, even with the best intentions. So, how do we maintain positive relationships with our siblings while honoring their need for space? One key is to recognize that every interaction doesn't have to happen in their home. Sometimes, the best way to reconnect is by meeting on neutral ground, at a park, a favorite restaurant, or even a short day trip to a place you both enjoy. These shared experiences allow you to bond without putting pressure on either person to host. It's also helpful to let go of assumptions about how your sibling should act or respond. Family roles can be deeply ingrained, and it's not uncommon for old dynamics to resurface during visits. Maybe your older brother still tries to give unsolicited advice, or your younger sister relies on you more than you'd like. Rather than letting these patterns create tension, focus on the qualities you value in your sibling. What makes them unique? What shared memories bring you joy? James and Robert, two brothers in their late 70s, learned this lesson the hard way. Growing up, they were inseparable, spending summers fishing and winters playing cards by the fireplace. But as adults, life pulled them apart. James became a schoolteacher in the Midwest, while Robert pursued a career in New York. Years passed, and their once close bond became strained by distance and unspoken misunderstandings. When James retired, he decided to surprise Robert with a visit. What he didn't realize was that Robert's health had begun to decline, leaving him fatigued and less able to entertain guests. The visit, meant to rekindle their connection, felt awkward and forced, leaving both brothers feeling more distant than ever. After some reflection, James decided to approach things differently. Instead of dropping by unannounced, he called Robert to ask about his schedule and preferences. They agreed to meet halfway at a quiet lakeside cabin where they could reminisce and reconnect without distractions. The trip allowed them to rebuild their bond on equal footing, free from the expectations tied to their childhood roles. If you're watching this and feeling inspired to reach out to a sibling, take a moment to reflect on your relationship. How has it changed over the years? What steps can you take to honor their space while nurturing your connection? Share your experiences in the comments below. You never know how your story might help someone else. Siblings, after all, are among the few people who can understand the unique journey of your life. By respecting their boundaries and finding new ways to connect, you can keep these cherished relationships strong, no matter how much time has passed. As we grow older, respecting personal boundaries becomes essential for maintaining strong, meaningful relationships. Whether it's with family, old friends, or siblings, understanding when and how to visit can make all the difference. Instead of unannounced drop-ins, thoughtful planning, like scheduled meetups, phone calls, or shared activities, helps nurture these bonds without causing strain. Relationships thrive on mutual respect, and small adjustments can lead to deeper connections. Have you ever experienced a situation where visiting someone didn't go as planned? How did you handle it? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your experiences and insights.